I had to think, well, how about a poet that I like a lot? And I'd like to ask Mark to come on over. Mark and I have known each other for quite a few years because we wrote together and still do occasionally end up at the same workshop with our leader M.L. Liebler, the poet guru of Wayne State University, and I would pretty much say the Tri-County area. And it's always enjoyable to sit around, read your poetry, and comment to one another. And I thought, gosh, Mark lives around here, and he's also an educator, something I really admire. So I am going to now read a short poem. Mark's got the shortest name, so he's got the shortest poem. Okay. Mark is so very attentive to the written word and really cares about teaching kids and also older kids. An educator and a poet. What a splendid combination. I introduce to you Mark Morgan.
Hello everyone. So yes, my name is Mark Morgan. I've known Deborah for about, I'm going to say it's about 7 years. I was born and raised in Detroit, lived there for about 27 years. So anyway, I moved to St. Clair Shores, and then I learned about a poetry workshop over at the St. Clair Shores Library, and that is where I met Deborah. She and the other members of the group have been very supportive of me over the years. I always liked writing poetry even as a kid, but the workshop really helped me believe that, hey, maybe I could get my name out there, maybe I could get my words out there, and maybe change the world with poetry. I am a teacher at Utica Schools. I do not teach kids at the moment. I teach adults in the adult ed program. They have a wonderful English as a second language program for adults, and they also help people earn their high school diplomas, get jobs. So I've been doing that for about 3 years. We've been really successful with that, and it's been a great experience. We do write some poetry in my classes. I tell my students that they all have a story to share. And with the current climate in the world, social and political, I think those stories, those experiences from other parts of the world, those are really important to share here, to build an understanding here. I'm going to share with you today about 6 poems that kind of talk about my personal experience growing up in Detroit, my home life, my own personal thoughts and feelings. So let's see. Let me just get this going here. So it was really interesting because when I was growing up, I lived in Detroit, and we would always go out to the suburbs because that's where I went to school, that's where my family members lived. So it was really interesting to kind of experience like both urban and suburban life and just how people acted and interacted with each other in those areas. So my first poem kind of talks a little bit about that. It's called Antihero. I used to jump puddles as a kid and pretend I was leaping across quicksand or a canyon beyond some clueless hooded villain's clutch. One time, the pale, crumbling street flooded and my feet got cold and wet, my beaten boots filling with thick, dark murk bubbling up from that sewer drain I dropped $1 in once, while a woodpecker slammed its beak against a telephone pole overhead. Ephemeral blue flashes of an exploding transformer, the volatile whiff of a green breeze, a wild scramble for shelter, the pitter-patter against the back windows. Power outages always scared me. Perhaps I read too many comic books. My greasy fingers strung cords of glossy paper and bulging muscle beneath the flaccid beam of a pocket flashlight for the illusion of motion and the faint buzz of a metropolis teeming with life on every corner. I'm sorry, but I'm not a criminal mastermind with a weather machine. I just wanted to devour all these beautiful shades of ink and fade into the encompassing white void beyond the panels. I like writing a lot of structured poetry with rhythm and meter to it, and I like to work with rhyme scheme too, but one of my favorite things to work with is like concrete and visual poetry. Unfortunately, you can't see that here, but this poem is published online on the Rising Phoenix Review. If you guys want to look me up on there, check it out, see it for yourself. My house in Detroit was next to an empty lot. It wasn't always empty. There was a huge fire. The building had burned down and it was cleared out. So we had this giant lot next to my house. And it was nice to have a nice quiet space, but then a lot of people would dump trash on it and things. So this poem kind of talks about what I saw when I would look out my bedroom window. It's called The Vacant Lot. The vacant lot, close to home and ringed by pale, cracked pavement, is covered in trash. Mangy brown rats gnaw on the bodies of their young, sharpen their teeth on a scorched antique chair, and scurry through refuse, arcades of rusted car parts and flat tires. Dingy white birds build nests of yellow-smeared newspapers in the safety of ancient elm tree branches, then fly down to feast on moldy hot dogs and pizza soaked in stagnant puddles. The birds fly back screeching, scattering white droppings on the untamed grass that smothers bleached asphalt teeth. But you know, there's something about the sun-kissed sparkle of broken liquor bottles and makeshift crack pipes that makes me want to sway with the zealous undulations of the windswept overgrowth.
I like how you read almost dancing.
You inspired me. One of the first times I saw Deborah, she did where you put on the cloth sack and you danced.
Yeah.
Yes. It was really cool because it was like a living Ellsworth Kelly painting. I loved it.
And those might come alive for the May 18th.
Oh, that would be great. Okay, next poem is titled The Other Night. The other night, I watched streetlight specters crawl across my walls and haunt the far corners of my room. Exhaust bled from an old Volkswagen's muffler and lit my lungs aflame with pure dusk. Shut the window, I thought, but it was hot as hell outside and I was used to the fumes stinging my eyes. The bug only comes by every few days anyhow. When the air cleared, I smelled the evening heat again. My heart exploded from my rib cage, crushing everything in fuzzy systolic bear hugs before dragging my brain down dirt roads, through fire hoops and explosions, heaving me up until I crash into storm clouds, murmuring low in the sky, in my temple, in my throat, dust kicked up by the temperamental breeze mixed with rain, staining my face with acid shame my bare walls mocked with their half-hearted echoes. Shut the window, I thought, because the last sunrise you saw without 1,000 mirrors ended long before the other night. How am I doing on time?
Oh, you're doing fine.
Doing fine? Okay. All right. So, because of the nature of, the neighborhood I lived in, most of my time was spent at home, kind of like chilling out inside of the house. There wasn't much to do out in the neighborhood. This next poem kind of talks about that. It's called Cataclysm. sat on my bedroom floor, eyes devouring the kaleidoscopic scattershot of my Genesis on mute, and I didn't know what time it was. I was suspended between the cool sheen of oil-slick vows and the omen boiling behind an unlocked door. A wheezing grind lurched from the living room, drinking chilly night air in an empty bed before oozing through my door jamb. Spiky-haired heroes clung to college-ruled pages between half-assed notes on religion and revolutions. Fantastic slashes of graphite and good intentions scarred cardboard covers in my backpack. On one page, I measured the points between a gentle embrace and a size 12 dent in the dishwasher. On another, I sliced veins with shards of broken dishes and bled dreams of silent charcoal forests along a spiraling wire spine. How hard is it to believe that within our bones lies an aftershock born from empty cataclysm? A song is nothing without air folded into lobes and chambers. We all follow the same metronome, pregnant with the rhythms of our chaos. The next poem I was just playing around for a little bit. It was just fun to write. Called Vapor. Her phone's off. She'll be back before long. She only left a few hours ago, didn't she? But the shops have closed and jagged shadows haunt their lots. This far into the night, who would drift away from summer's slow creep but a ghost? I taste my beer can's emptiness. I've dreamed of closed curtains, the final bow, a drowning applause. Like vapor, she dreamed of wildfires, blooming flowers, each one planted by goddesses' tears. One day, she asked for a garden. I said, "And which seeds would you like?" Her eyes grew. Now, I'm no gardener. But life taught me that without dirt and rain, there is no dream. Just hollow-eyed, frozen ghosts. There is light without reflection. There is here but no point, no tomorrows, beside this single blossom burning in me. All right. The last poem is titled Frostbitten Wings. Here to be a nice tribute to, well, what have you out here right now. Frostbitten Wings. At some precise moment, the universe may permit you to sit back and watch a Michigan winter squirm out from its chrysalis and flutter its veiny wings against your windshield. But no time will be wasted. One snowflake's desperate tumble equals 1,000 weddings, 10 billion funerals, and one mediocre job interview. You may leave the office shivering or thirsty for sweet streetlight nectar. Who hasn't denied their entire existence as a trajectory through a blizzard of questions? Only when frostbitten wings grow silent do skies turn clear. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was wondering if you could give that information to Dan and Gwen as well, and Jack and Laura as well, so that we can get everything together on the social media that will follow, so everybody could. That was some long addresses I heard sometimes. I'm not certain that everybody got them copied down.
Yeah.
And you have a book too?
Yes, I don't really have any copies for sale right now, but I am published in a local author collection titled Sterling Script. This is by Walper Publishing. There are many talented writers and artists in here. If you like what you heard from me, I'm sure you'll love everything else from the other awesome artists that are in here. You guys can order this on Amazon, or you can look it up on Facebook. It's just titled Sterling Script, a local author collection. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing today.
Thank you.
Thank you. surprise this week. My friend Kim Verham, who's been a very, I would say, dedicated attendee to our events, met a poet in Mount Clemens, and she asked me, could she read a couple after Mark reads? And I said, certainly. So I wrote you a little poem off the cuff here. Okay, come on up, and please pronounce your name for me.
Razija.
Okay, Razija. Okay, so Razija's poem, it was just created. Razija, reader of poetry, always with a zest. I love that she joined us today. Art is poetry, poetry is art. I introduce to you, what is your last name?
Razija Begovic.
Razija Begovic.
Poetry all started for me to start trying to grasp the psychological aspects of my own mind and how the thoughts that I was receiving were being manipulated by my external experiences. So I have taken my own time and sat with myself and fully understood how the mind could manipulate itself. These poems come from self-awareness, self-recognition. They come from recognizing what's always there. The underlying pure form, formless essence that is within each and one of us, within each creation. And I found a burning passion in my soul to express these words that we all deeply know. And today I would like to share 2 poems from a book that I wrote called Flowers of Consciousness with you all. Falling into pieces, just watch the sudden reasons to keep on believing. Never alone, not even for a single season. It's warming up and it's supposed to be freezing. So much love comforts us in the colder evening. One who has grown perceiving the lies that kept on beating inside. The past lives reliving in every atom of every light, coming to life in every level of the mind, consciousness revealing beliefs in the current level of eyes. It's love to take recognition of the lows and the highs. No disguise in the kind, one as the diamond that glows with life, as rays flow through every emotion that blinds, coming around, releasing the rounds of cycles that used to tie us down. The Creator, as you and I know you as my own faithful body and mind, given momentum to pursue something that can be only felt on the inside. Spirit is all life and dwells in us to define. As the eye can no longer hide, God, creating beyond a sure phase, moving on like the body of atoms that keep holding us strong. As love escapes for the warm approach to the sensitive time for the human race, we're growing together, staying light, keeping the pleasure expanding from the night, in all sacred space that reveals the one life. A falling leaf, sturdy as wind surfaces, a wave of simple components in motion. Emotion dawned, one incredible focus, as love in every element which perfectly is. For every scent is a reaping cycle that bans an evolution of mass dimensions, while a loose leaf remains attentive, selective, the presence as the only altar of perspective, It's holding on to intention as no dying comes to a transforming direction. It fears not. Who else could lead? A focuser of specific peaks. In conscious mention, it is a directive, even out loud, just to keep from drying out. It all stops now, letting go, as no longing the same. The blossoming remains, so flowing from a branch that it praised. An essence of nothing, an unchangeable perfection, beholding entirely the ground that was always sturdy and ready for its blemish, to nourish the world from its connection. The drop was not as frightening as expected. The newborn life becomes the seed of another time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I liked the reoccurring action, and Laura was sharing with me that we got the feeling of a little rap going on there.
Yeah, I flow.
Most definitely. Well, flow with us again sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, I just wanted to thank also two people that haven't been thanked yet today. We have a staff at the Law of Fine Art that is hardworking and also studying. Come on up, Maria and Nick. I just wanted to introduce you. Two people that are interested in art, two people that are currently working on their own careers in art and studying. So I just thought I'd like to introduce you, Maria DiAgostini and Nick Uzan, who help us put these events together. I'm going to put you on the spot for a second. Could you tell us what you're studying at Wayne State?
Arts Administration Master's Program.
And Nick, what are you studying?
I'm studying studio art with a photography concentration.
So someday we're going to see some photography of yours too, hopefully, yeah. And Nelson and I are going to go out of town in April, so I'm hoping that doesn't mean that we still don't have Artful Discussions number 7. So I'm hoping that they can put it together for April, and Maria's got some great ideas of what's going to happen at that. And so this rolls on. It's nice to see youthful people already out there in the world creating and having the confidence to come forward and share with us. So once again, thanks everyone, and thank you, Sarah, wherever you are.